Hello, I'm Stephanie McCoy with Bold Blind Beauty, and I am so honored to have with us today for July our woman on the move, Bree Klauser. Bree, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, thanks for having me. So my name is Bree Klauser. I use she, hers, and they, them pronouns. I'm happy to be a woman on the move, but also to be a gender fluid, non-binary person who happens to be disabled on the move as well. So representing all of those people in varying stages of femininity on the gender spectrum. I am an actor, singer, voiceover artist, and advocate. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I am born and raised in the New York area, and I am such a big fan of Bold Blind Beauty and what they have done for females in the low vision blind community and showing that we can be badass too.
Bree, I know you were born with a visual impairment. Can you briefly share with our audience your condition and what it was like growing up with a visual impairment?
Sure. So I was born legally blind in both eyes with a condition called achromatopsia. It is pretty rare. It's a genetically linked impairment. I'm missing two out of the three cones you're supposed to have in your eyes, and the retina and the rods and cones. So it means that I am completely colorblind. I am very light sensitive, so I wear these tinted contact lenses. My eyes are brown, but they appear darker brown because of these contact lenses. And I'm very nearsighted. I have a visible nystagmus in both eyes, which is a shaking of the pupils, and poor depth perception. So I did receive orientation mobility growing up, so I can learn how to get around by myself. I wasn't trained on a cane until much later because I think I was just very stubborn. Uh, growing up, growing up legally blind was interesting in the sense that I didn't grow up around other blind and low vision people. The only contact I had was with my sibling. My older sibling has the same condition. And in the summertime, I would go to a day camp with other children who were blind and visually impaired, but I went to mainstream schooling. So I think there was a lot of pressure, especially as someone who was raised female, to kind of blend in. So I remember often refusing certain low vision aids even when I needed them. It probably took me well into my adolescence and into my adulthood to fully accept and embrace my disability as a part of me and as a part of what makes me who I am and as a strength rather than as something to be ashamed of. But I
As
think
an actor, what made you choose this particular profession and how did you break into the industry, especially as someone who has a visual impairment? I would almost assume that that would be a little
you know,
difficult.
I think when we're growing up, when we're children, we want to be anything and everything. And from a very young age, I love the performing arts. I saw my first Broadway show when I was 6 years old. I saw that little girl on the stage, and from then I wanted to be like a child star. And to me, it never really occurred to me that there was a big difference between me and her. I just saw another little girl who loved to sing and could sing and had a lot of personality. So, it wasn't so much like where a lot of people they go to high school and they say, what do I want to do with my life? Oh, maybe I'll be an actor. No, it's something that people often talk about getting bit by the bug. Well, I got bit by the bug and I got bit young. And I'm really grateful that my mother, especially both my parents, but my mother especially, she never said, "Oh, well, maybe this isn't something you can do." She said, "Well, this is something you love to do." And she saw that I had an aptitude for singing and acting, and you know, this was something that I could become, well skilled with. And as long as it was something that I enjoyed, she encouraged it. And actually, like, I think I wanted her to be more of a stage mom. I was the one who was dragging her to take me to the city, and so it wasn't so much like, "Oh, let me choose to do this." It was like, no, this is what I want to do. And I say to people all the time, if there is anything else that you are passionate about, anything else that you think you could positively contribute to the world with, like, do that instead because it's going to be a lot easier. But for me, it's kind of like a bittersweet thing because it's like this is how I feel I can best contribute to the world is
Can you offer any other tips for younger people, especially younger people who have disabilities who may want to follow in your footsteps?
absolutely training. Training is the most important thing to because the assumption is that performers with disabilities don't have the experience and don't have the training. We live in the age of the internet and there are so many virtual resources and as now for low vision and blind people, we have all this great accessible technology. I'm a Mac user and I find that that is like a godsend. I can zoom in to my heart's desire and I can see the person on the other side. But people can use speech to text, people can use voiceover, people can have scripts converted into braille or read to them. And I think the first thing you need to do once you get into training or once you get into practice, whether it's for acting or music or production, is figuring out what you need to be successful. What is I wish someone told me this sooner, but I learned this from the former artistic director of Theater Breaking the Barriers, Ike Shamblin, who passed away in 2015. He said to know exactly what font size I would need from a script because you want to take the guesswork because as soon as you make your accommodations their problem, they're not going to want to deal with it. But if you know, okay, I need this when I'm on set, I need tactile markers, I need someone to help me navigate any difficult terrain, I need my script sent in a digital PDF with this size font, then, not only will that make your job easier, but it makes you look professional. It's like, oh, okay, they've done this before. And so I said training, that was important. And also don't say no to opportunity. I feel I find this really surprising because I've seen this with younger performers with disabilities, but even my own peers, I see a hesitancy for them to just put themselves out there. The worst they're going to say is no. Make tapes of yourself, practice being on camera, play around with recording programs like Audacity and GarageBand, practice recording yourself, practice editing. The more practice you can get, the more confidence you'll have. But at the same time, you don't want to wait until you feel quote unquote ready. Otherwise, you're never going to be ready. I took classes and I took classes specific to TV and film and auditioning for that. And I brought what I learned to my audition for C, and it was that plus right place, right time. So I really behoove people to just put themselves out there. Right. And one more thing, if you can write your own work, I know this is like the pot calling the kettle black. People have told me, oh, write your own show or that. And I'm just on top of being legally blind, I also have ADHD. So it's very hard for me to put all my ducks in a row. But if you have the love and the passion for writing, write your own stories and film those, record those.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for those tips. So, how can our viewers get in contact with you, Bree?
So you can reach out to me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active on social media. So that's Bree_Klauser_official. So it's BREE_KLAUSER_official, the regular way that is spelled. Or you can visit my website, breeklauser.com. For professional opportunities, please reach out to my representation at KMR. And I try to, especially when people I love when people reach out on the website. It always makes me really excited. It's like, oh wow, okay, you found me. What? Like, and actually, if it is a professional opportunity and it's not like an agent thing, like or like I'm really trying to do more advocacy and disability consulting work. I just did a disability consulting campaign for McCann Erickson for MasterCard. So anything involving advocacy or speaking of that, please reach out to me on my website at breeklauser.com.
Well, thank you so much, Bree, and thank you for being our July Woman on the Move.
Thank you for having me for my birthday month.
You're welcome.